Introducing the Thermal Arc Arcmaster AC/DC welders. The Arcmaster family of welding power supplies share common features and controls, the differences being only in their physical size, input requirements, and welding output. For this demonstration, we will be using the Arcmaster 185 AC/DC. Before operating the Arcmaster welders, be sure to read and implement all safety procedures as outlined in Section 1 of the Operator's Manual. The Model 185 AC/DC is a self-contained 230-volt single-phase power supply. The power supply is equipped with a digital LED display, gas solenoid, built-in slope and pulse functions, AC or DC output, and TIG or stick welding processes. In the lift arc or high-frequency arc starting mode, standard, pulsed, or sloped TIG arc welding processes can be achieved. The Arcmaster units are completely enclosed in an impact-resistant, flame-retardant, non-conductive case. The control panel, located on the front of the power supply, is where the weld process functions are selected and their corresponding parameters are adjusted. The panel has been divided into sections that separate and organize the system functions and parameters. In the lower center of the control panel is the section containing the digital LED display and the control knob. This digital display indicates the value of the parameter that is being adjusted, changing as the control knob is rotated. Above this section are two buttons labeled Save and Load. The 185 AC/DC has the capability of storing up to 5 preset weld programs. These programs contain all of the parameters and functions currently set on the control panel. In the upper left-hand corner of the control panel is the VRD, or voltage reduction device. The VRD is used to reduce the open current voltage when the power supply is not in use. It is a safety feature that is only enabled when the stick welding process is being utilized. Two LEDs indicate the status of this feature. When the stick process is selected, the green light will be illuminated. When welding, the green light will go out and the red light will be illuminated. If desired, this feature can be internally deactivated. Please refer to the owner's manual for instructions. Next is the pulse function section. Notice that this section has an on-off button that enables this function and incorporates part of the weld sequence graph. The pulse control is primarily used to control heat input. Pulse control offers a number of advantages: control of the size and fluidity of the weld puddle, increased weld penetration, control of the travel speed, better control for consistent quality, and reduced distortion on thinner materials. The parameters affected by the pulse function are peak current, base or background current, pulse width, and the pulse frequency. These parameters are accessed with the scroll buttons as indicated on the weld sequence graph, and individually adjusted by rotating the control knob. The next section is the AC/DC weld current selection button. When this button is pressed, the weld output will toggle between alternating current and direct current. When AC is selected, the AC frequency and the balance of the AC waveform can be adjusted. Located in the top right corner of the control panel is the remote contactor function section. This button toggles between the panel control and remote controlled features. In the panel position, the weld output is enabled. In the remote position, the output is disabled unless a remote contactor control, such as a foot pedal, is used. Located below the remote contactor function is the remote current function. This function allows the amperage to be controlled by a remote amperage control device that is connected to the 8-pin remote control socket located on the front of the power supply. Located in the lower right-hand corner is the weld process section. Stick, high-frequency start TIG, and lift start TIG functions are selected here by scrolling through these processes. A light will be illuminated next to the icon for the process you have selected. The last section is for the TIG mode function. Use the button located below the icons to index through the standard, slope, slope with repeat, and spot TIG functions. The function is selected when the adjacent LED is illuminated. This concludes the introduction to the Arcmaster AC/DC welder power supply and its functions. For specific instructions on various weld modes and other Arcmaster functions, please refer to the appropriate video provided on this disc. Before operating the Arcmaster welders, be sure to read and implement all safety procedures as outlined in Section 1 of the Operator's Manual. Make sure the appropriate shielding gas is attached to the rear of the power supply and that a flow meter regulator is used to control gas pressure and flow rate. Connect the power supply input power cable to the appropriate outlet. The Arcmaster 185 requires a 230-volt single-phase power source. Attach the torch lead to the negative terminal of the power supply. Attach the work lead with the ground clamp to the positive terminal of the power source and to your workpiece. Connect the remote amperage control device to the power source. Either a foot control or a torch-mounted control can be used. Make sure that the appropriate shielding gas is attached to the rear of the power supply with a flow meter regulator. For this demonstration, we will be using argon set at a flow rate of around 20 CFH. Turn on the power supply. The switch is located on the rear panel. Set the remote contactor function to the remote position. Set the remote current function to the panel position. Select either AC or DC for the output current. DC will be used for this demonstration. Set the process function to the high-frequency start TIG. Set the TIG mode function to slope. Scroll through the weld parameters with the arrow buttons. Select pre-flow and adjust the time to 1 second. Select hot start and adjust the amperage. 20 amps will be the setting for this demonstration. Select initial current and adjust the amperage. 20 amps will be the setting for this demonstration. Select upslope and adjust the time. 1 second will be the setting for this demonstration. Select the weld current and adjust the amperage. 125 amps will be the setting for this demonstration. Select downslope and adjust the time. 5 seconds will be the setting for this demonstration. Scroll to Final Current and adjust the output to 20 amps. Select the post flow and adjust the post flow time. 5 seconds will be the setting for this demonstration. Set the shielding gas flow rate by cycling the weld cycle and adjusting the flow meter for the desired flow rate. 20 CFH will be the setting for this demonstration. Hold the TIG torch close to the workpiece, but do not make contact with the tungsten. Depress the foot control until the arc starts and then release the foot control. The arc will ramp up to the preset weld current. To complete the weld cycle, depress the foot control again and hold it down until the weld current decreases to the final current level. Lifting your foot off the foot control will extinguish the arc.